Greetings everyone and welcome in this webinar. Today we will be discussing about ISO 9001-2015 revision, the stage of the draft international standard. My name is Leonora Miauco, the PCB organizer of this webinar, and the guest for today is Raza Shah, PCB certified trainer and senior consultant. Please write your questions and comments in the question box in the right-hand control panel, and Raza will answer them accordingly. Please, Raza, you may start the presentation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Uh, Today I will discuss about the changes which are affecting the ISO 9000 standard. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Sayyid Razaullah Shah from Pakistan. I have done my Master in Business Administration and in Master in Education. I am editor for ISO 9000, ISO 14000, ISO 22000, ISO 13485, OSHAS, and SA 8000. I have been in consultancy and training and editing for the last 15 years. Today, the topic we are going to discuss is related to the changes which are coming in the very popular standard ISO 9001-2008. The new version is about to be published very soon, hopefully at the end of this month. And the quality professionals and organizations are very much conscious that which changes are coming to the new version. So this webinar will be helpful for the organizations and for the quality professional to understand how the new standard will affect the quality management system. The new ISO 9001 standard is expected to be published in September. Companies across the world are anticipating the upcoming changes and wondering how the revision will affect their business. Here we have summarized the most significant changes in order to assist companies preparing for the transition. Before going into details, we would like to know about the popularity and its acceptance throughout the world. More than 1 million companies around the world are certified according to the ISO 9000 standard. Germany alone boasts more than 50,000 certifications. Since in its introduction in 1987, the certification grown in popularity and continuously evolved in order to address business needs. Every year, new industries adopt ISO 9000 as the standard for their suppliers. Today, it is applied in health, social work sector as well as the chemical, electrical, and machinery industries. ISO 9000 regulates requirement for quality management system. The standard requires a control circuit providing ongoing further development in terms of a continuous improvement process. Particularly focused on process orientation, the ISO 9000 standard takes a process-oriented approach to demonstrate potentially for improvement in all business, even those who are currently healthy and successful. In order to continue the push to continually improve quality management, the standard has once again been revised. Initially the standard was first published in 1987, then it was revised in 1994, and then it was revised again in 2000, and then it revised in 2008, and this is again to be revised in 2015, and at the end of this month the new standard will be published as ISO 9001-2015. And the system basically depends upon very popular principle of ISO, which is basically plan, do, check, act. So the plan, do, check cycle is a continuous cycle. First we plan. In plan we analysis of the business environment and customer needs and their influence on organization. Define company targets, objective processes to meet customer expectations. And when we plan something, then we do it. And in do phase, we implement implementation of management quality actions, plans, and collection of data from analysis in subsequent steps. And after do, the next phase is the check. We check, during the check, we do monitoring and measuring processes and actual results for comparison with expected results and targets. And finally is the act phase. During that phase, we are improving quality and customer satisfaction by responding to previously collected information. And if you see, this is a continuous cycle. This will not end everywhere. First we plan, then do, check, and then we again continue with the plan. And this is a continuous cycle, and this is called a PDCA approach. And the new quality ISO 9000 standard is based on this cycle. This standard is very popular, and the most ISO 9000 and most popular standard of under the ISO umbrella, so it has some certain benefits. Some of these are improving market access, opportunity, and gain a competitive advantage. Increase organization efficiency, reduce errors and complaints, generate trust with your customer, increase customer orientation, achieve significant cost savings, improve processes and structures, motivate employees with better communication and readily available information. Once you have a quality management system based on the ISO standard, you can get a lot of benefit, and the industry and the other actors of supply chain give you a good weightage, and because they understand if you have a well-established management system, you can serve them better. And at the same time, you can save your cost, enhance your efficiency and effectiveness, and you can satisfy your customer in a good manner. And when the customer will understand that you have the ability to serve them in a better way, they will consider you better than the other fellows in the industry who do not have the ISO certification. So this is a competitive edge for your organization if you get the ISO certification. And this is not the first time the standard is going to be changed. If, after each 5 years, the standards are considered to be revised, and this is the first time it was revised in 1994. Second time it was revised in 2000. Third time it was revised in 2008, and this is the fourth time the standard is going to be revised, and it is 2015. So ISO standards are reviewed every 5 years by the standard committee responsible for their relevance, suitability, and effectiveness. At a review in 2012, the majority of ISO committee members decided that the current ISO 9000 standard for quality management needed revision. The new version expected to come out in September 2015 in this current month. Maybe it will be published at the end of this month. It will replace the current 2008 standard. So in this way, after every 5 years, the standard is reviewed, and it is considered to be a suggestion that it should be changed. And this time there are some major changes coming. And if you see that if you compare the 2000 standard and even and 2008 standard, when it has been changed from 2000 to 2008, there is not any major changes. There was only changes in some basic terminology. And if we compare the 1994 standard with the 2000 standard, you can see that there were some major changes. And this time again, when the standard is going to be changed from 2008 to 2015, there are coming some major changes. And what objectives of this revision? The main objective of this revision is it will provide a stable requirement framework for the next 10 years. So address recent changes in technology, quality management practices, and the increasingly complex and dynamic work environment in order to improve practical relevance. Be sufficiently generic yet remain relevant to all types and sizes of the organization, regardless of their industry to or sector. Maintain the present focus on an effective process management. Apply the high-level structure, uniform structure, core text, and definition to ensure structural compatibility with other management standards such as Environmental Management Standard ISO 14000 and the Energy Management Standard ISO 50001. Simplifying implementation and the conformity assessment. Simplify phrasing to ensure common understanding and consistent interpretation of the requirement. So this, as with the passage of time, mostly industry adopt some new technology and many things change. So this system will be compatible with these changes. And the one major thing which is going to be changed in system is the common high-level structure for all sector of the standards. So there will be no extra work for each standard, but the common aspects will be addressed in a common way, and only some different areas will be added for each standard. If we review the timeline, how the standard is going to be changed and in which processes the standard has to be gone through before the changes. It was decided in 2012 that decision to revise the ISO 9000 standard. The first draft for the requirements and the working document emerged in June the same year. 6 months later, the working draft with approved specification was released. The committee draft followed in June 2013, and the draft of International Harmonious Standard came out 1 year later. With some delay, the proposal for the final draft of ISO 9000 revision was ready to be for harmonized in May 2015. The new version of the ISO 9000 standard for quality management system is expected to be published in September 2015. So it is expected that the new standard will be published at the end of this month. So we are going to discuss the significant proposed changes in this standard. The revised ISO 9000 will affect content as well as structure as listed by the changes as mentioned. The first one is the process-oriented approach. The naming of input, output, and process owner is expecting explicitly required. This is mainly focused on the process approach, and there must be mentioned input, output, and some owner for each process. The manual, there is no formal requirement for a manual. The content requirement remains. And quality management representative, functional requirements exist but are not dependent upon position within the company. The member of management requirement no longer exists. So in this standard, there is no requirement of management representative. Implementation of quality goals. When planning the achievement of quality goals, the organization must determine who is responsible, when procedures should be completed, and how results should be evaluated. And dealing with risk. Organization must identify risk which could affect the achievement of product and processes goal. The company must plan action to counter these risks and evaluate the effectiveness of those actions. And communication. The organization must determine what, when, with whom, and how information shall be shared and communicated. Development. If detailed requirements by customer and interested parties are not suitably defined for a subsequent production or delivery of services, the organization shall establish a development process. Outsourcing. Externally provided goods are now treated the same as externally provided services. So these are some main changes which are coming to this standard, and the main changes related to the other main change we have already discussed is the concentration on the risk management. The standard defines risk as the uncertain outcomes of an expected result. Essentially, the new version calls for more risk awareness. Business should recognize and evaluate potential risk after identifying, assessing, and prioritizing each risk. A company may decide to accept the risk, avoid it, or appropriate action to minimize the impact. So risk management is a main change in this new standard. And the other main change is upgrade of high-level structure. The essential changes affecting the ISO structure is its following of the so-called high-level structure, designed to promote common definition and uniform structure among certified management systems, as well as assign core text and terminology in order to make standard easier to understand and streamline combined certification. So, so in the high-level structure, it will be easy for the organization to go for the different standard for a different the certificate for a different standard, and because if some organization is going for ISO 9000 and ISO 14000, and there will be only some differences, but the overall the standards will be the same. And there is also a change in the clause pattern of the standard. In previous standard ISO 9001:2008, there were 8 clauses, but in the new standard ISO 9001:2015, there are 10 clauses. You well remember that in the ISO 9001:2008, there were clauses of scope, normative references, terms and definition, management system, management responsibility, resource management, production, product realization, measurement, analysis, and improvement. So the scope, normative reference, and terms and definition were just giving the introduction, and quality management system, management responsibility, and resource management were giving a plan. And product realization come under the do phase, and measurement, analysis, and improvement come under the check and act. And in the new standard, which is going to be published hopefully at the end of this month, the clauses are: the first clause is scope, the second clause is the normative reference, the third clause is terms and definition. These three clauses are the same as the previous standard, but the fourth clause is the different, and the fourth clause is context of the organization, and the fifth clause is leadership, and the sixth clause is planning, and seventh clause is support, and the eighth clause is operations, and ninth clause is performance evaluation, and the 10th clause is improvement. So starting with the first three classes, the first three classes are related to introduction, and fourth, fifth, and sixth clause, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh clause is related to planning, and eighth clause is related to operations, and ninth clause is related to check, and the 10th clause is related to act. And this is as we have said in the previous class, previous slide, that it is high level structure. So if it is ISO 9001 or ISO 14 or any other standard, the only clause which will be changed, it is clause 8. The other clause will remain the same. So the structure will remain the same, and only the change will come in operation, the clause 8. So the companies have to now do a lot for adopting or implementing the different standard, because the only difference is clause 8, and other clauses will be similar. And this standard is giving an opportunity to the organization that they can apply for the multiple certification easily. So this is giving the way for the organization for the combined certification. A cross-industry standard ISO 9000 is suitable for the certification of quality management system. In any company, ISO 9000 audits can be easily combined with industry-specific audits related to the quality management and other management systems. Standards with which ISO 9000 certification is commonly combined include ISO TS 16949 quality standard for the automotive industry, the EMAS, and ISO 14000 standard for environmental management, the ISO 5001, 5001 standard for energy management, and other. Education and vocational institution might wish to combine ISO 9000 certification with an AZAV certification, and learning services providers with ISO 29990 certified quality management can also benefit from an ISO 9000 certification. So if a company implement a system based on the ISO 9000 standard, it will be very easy that this company can adopt the other standards like ISO 9000, like TS 16949. So because the structure of now the structure of all the standards is going to be similar. So mostly the companies who are certified on the standard ISO 9001 2008, now they are thinking how they can switch over for ISO 9001 2015. For certification and for certificates and audits subjected to accreditation, the following transition arrangements apply. A 3-year transition period is granted for the publication of ISO 9001 2015. After those 3 years, all previous accredited certificates will be invalid. Certificates may be issued only after an audit conducted by an accredited certification body. It is be expected that more time will be needed for those audits held in conjunction with supervision or recertification. So when this standard will be published, the companies can apply for the 2015 standard, and there is a period of 3 years that every company have to apply for the new standard in the coming 3 years, and it will be only possible when a certification body will conduct a audit of the new system of an organization. So, a certified company wishing to prepare for the new version of ISO 9000 can identify gaps for the new standard, use the standard as the basis of a checklist, and check what needs to be done to meet the standard. Develop an implementation plan, ensure adequate training and awareness among all parties, influencing how your company performs. Promptly inform all participants in the quality management process about the ISO 9001 revision and changes and impact arises from it. Update your current quality management system to meet the additional or modified requirements and ensure that system performance is verified. So, so first you have to do the gap analysis, and you have to point out the gaps which are due to the changing in the new standard. Because previously you were following the ISO 9001 2008, and now you have to follow the new standard ISO 9000 2015, and you have to point out the gaps, and then you have to develop an implement plan, and it is necessary you trained your people, your staff on the new ISO 9001 2015 standard, so they can learn that how the new standard is affecting their existing quality management system, and what changes they have to adopt. So you have to convey all the concerned participants and that the new system is coming and we have to adopt it, and you have to update your current quality management system according to the requirement of the new standard. There are some recommendations from the International Accreditation Forum for adopting the new standard, and you should, the International Accreditation Forum recommends gap analysis of your existing quality management system at the first step in a successful transition to the new ISO 9001 standard. The analysis will help you confirm the procedure already implemented are in compliance with the new ISO 9001 2000 standard, and it will also help pinpoint system processes and documentation in need of improvement. You can engage some editor for this purpose who will help you for this upgradation or even for the gap analysis, and you can get his expert opinion ask question about various fields your company is active in and gain a first impression of how closely or not your management system meets the basic requirement of EN ISO 14 ISO 9001 2014. In conclusion, the results of the expert gap analysis will be presented and discussed with you. So if you engage some expert editor, he will submit you the gap analysis report, and you will be able to understand which are the gaps and what you have to do more to close these gaps. Thank you very much for your listening, and if you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Raza, for this presentation. I want to thank all attendees as well for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us. We hope you enjoyed this webinar. We have received all your questions, and because of the time is limited, we will answer to your questions individually by email. Please check PCB's webinar schedule in our website www.pcb.com or our official social media network, since next week we are organizing webinars on interesting topics. Next Monday we are hosting a webinar on the topic the criticality of auditing in maintaining a certified quality management system. Thank you.
Thank you.